I wasn't born for this. I was a farm boy, running through green fields in Yorkshire. But now, I'm running through gunfire, through fear, through a war I never truly understood. Hughes wrote me as every soldier. No name, no rank, no identity. Because this isn't just my story. It's the story of thousands of men thrown into battles decided by king and country while we paid the price. He knew the truth from his father, a survivor of the Great War. War doesn't make heroes. War makes screaming men trying to survive. And in this poem, Hughes exposes the dehumanization, the instinctual terror, and the sheer futility that patriotic posters never told us about. My story begins in medias res, mid-run, mid-chaos, mid-panic. Because that's what the battlefield is, an intrusion of reality, a moment where time fractures. The second stanza dives inside my head, my internal conflict, my breaking identity, the moment my patriotism shatters into pure survival instinct. And the ending, anticlimactic, because this is war. There's no triumph, only fear, confusion, and destruction. Bullets smacking the belly out of the air. The bullets come first, not the enemy, not honour, not patriotism, just bullets. Hughes uses personification, bullets smacking the belly out of the air, to show how violent and unnatural this world has become. Smacking. A verb of aggression, a violent intentional impact like an adult striking a child. It creates a power dynamic, man-made weapons dominating even nature. If the air is being beaten, what chance do I have? And then belly. Giving air a human body part creates a disturbing parallel between nature and soldiers, both victims of the same war, both helpless under human brutality. Hughes inverts expectation. It's not the wind being knocked out of me, it's the air itself being winded. The world turned upside down, reality inverted, a symbol of the soldier's total disorientation. Then the soundscape. The plosive B in bullets and belly explodes like gunfire. The sibilance mimics the whiz, that eerie, drawn-out hiss as bullets slice through the air. War slows down in terror. Time stretches. You notice every sound, but never quickly enough to survive it. This line captures the truth. I'm not running toward glory. I'm running through chaos, through a world where even the air is being torn apart. The patriotic tear that had brimmed in his eye, sweating like molten iron from the centre of his chest. Once, I believed in this, in country, in honour, in doing my duty. That belief shows in the personification. The patriotic tear that had brimmed in his eye. Past tense, a reminder of who I used to be. A soldier proud enough to hold the tear back, to brim with emotion, not weakness. But patriotism doesn't survive the battlefield. Not in the real world of mud, blood, and bullets. The tear moves. It becomes something physical, something burning. Sweating like molten iron. A simile forged from agony. The adjective molten suggests burning metal. The scorch of grief. The heat of explosions, the physical pain of a body pushed beyond its limits. The verb sweating shows exertion, fear pouring out of me as my chest tightens, my body screaming to stop. But I can't stop. Not in this charging line, not when survival is the only truth left. And notice the caesura, that dash after chest. It jolts the line forward, a sudden break like a soldier ducking. The poem itself darting like a man dodging gunfire. Even the punctuation becomes a bullet. This is where my patriotism dies, where the banner in my mind burns away and leaves nothing behind but survival instinct and the unbearable weight of betrayal. Furrow. Threw up a yellow hair that rolled like a flame. And then, out of nowhere, the ground moves. Hughes uses enjambment to create relentless, unstoppable motion. The battlefield never lets you pause. The furrow, the trench of earth cut by the plough, suddenly performs a human action. Threw up. A moment of personification that turns nature into something sick, vomiting out a creature that should have been safe underground. War diseases the earth itself. Then the hair. Yellow. A colour of sickness, decay, cowardice, fear. Maybe the hair mirrors me, a helpless body thrown into violence I never chose. Before the war, this field was green, fertile, alive. Now it is yellow, dying. The landscape itself records the corruption of war. The hair rolled, a verb of agony, a symbol of innocence caught in crossfire. Hughes reminds us that war doesn't just kill soldiers, it destroys everything living. Then the simile. Like a flame. A disturbing parallel between the animal's suffering and the fire of exploding shells. Between the soldier's terror and the burning world around him. The hair is me, thrown, helpless, rolling through pain caused by decisions I had no part in making. King, honour, human dignity, etc. dropped like luxuries in a yelling alarm. This is where everything falls apart. The list, king, honour, human dignity, etc. uses listing to expose the empty ideals I once fought for. These were supposed to be noble reasons, reasons worth dying for. But now, they're meaningless words, vague concepts handed down from above to convince young men to enlist. Hughes slams that truth home with etc. A cold dismissal, as if to say, you know the rest, the propaganda, all those intangible promises that crumble the moment bullets fly. This is Hughes's critique, a condemnation of war propaganda, of governments asking men to die for words that can't protect them. Then the simile. Drop like luxuries in a yelling alarm. Luxuries. That's what patriotism becomes in combat. Something you can't afford to carry. Something heavy. Useless. Discarded the moment fear takes over. The yelling alarm captures the primal terror. A sound with no reason, no heroism, just survival. In that instant, I'm not fighting for my king. Not fighting for honour, not fighting for my nation. I'm fighting because if I stop running, I die. And that's the truth Hughes wanted you to see. War doesn't create noble men. War creates terrified ones. If you want grade 9, learn how these moments connect. Watch the poetry comparison videos. See how Bayonet Charge speaks to exposure, to remains, to every poem that shows the real cost of war, but also contrasts with the false ideals of the Charge of the Light Brigade.